All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market Show. Hope everyone's having an amazing weekend. I'm sorry. Hope everyone's having an amazing day, and hope you had a great day yesterday. All right, guys. You might just be hearing me from one side this morning, and the reason for that is because my mic is giving out. So apologies for that. I will get one as soon as I'm done trading this morning. I'll pick one up in Best Buy. Make sure you guys are getting some good quality sound over there. All right. Good morning, everyone.
So
Welcome to the Market
hopefully
Show. Hope
that is
everyone's
not too bad on your end.
But with that said, let's get started, guys. So as usual today, good morning, Norm. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing all right. I thought I was going deaf in one ear.
No. I did some. I wasn't able to tell you because you couldn't hear me through Skype. But yeah, I did some testing last night, and definitely is on my end. My output is only on the left hand side. So you guys are not going
Gotcha.
crazy. You're not going deaf. It's all on my end. All right, guys. So again, this gappers list pretty big this morning. Me and Norm were talking just a bit ago. We are missing the days when the gappers list was about 10, 8 stocks, 12 stocks at max. Very easy to fine tune. Look at some stocks that are actually moving independently. Today, as you can see, we have tons of stocks on here as usual. A lot of green this morning with the market gapping up a little bit today. So we'll get through all of that. Obviously, all the oil stocks are doing. It seems like whatever was up yesterday is down today. Whatever's vice versa, depending on the way which way the market opens up every morning. So, Norm, take us through the SPY a little bit. We're not gonna go through the stocks in play yesterday just because for the sake of time. But take us through any possible
Yep.
news and SPY what we got going on.
Yeah, I mean, SPY's up 3.5%. Dow futures are last time I looked, which was given a little while ago, and it looks like it's pulled back somewhat since then, but they were up 1,100 points or so earlier this morning. We got oil up 8-9% today, which is why we're going to see these oil companies popping up. Same stuff we talked about yesterday going on with Russia and Saudis and OPEC trying to, work something out and essentially just getting into a pissing contest, I guess, for lack of a better word. And also, Russia has some, because of sanctions upon them, has some motivation to try to uh, put a glut in the market and kill shale oil. So that's what's been going on there. Um, there's some word they might be talking. We'll see. But the Saudis say that they're about to release the maximum amount of oil that they've ever put on the market. So it should be interesting to come up. Um, Really not a good thing. It's a lot of people, affects a lot of people and a lot of businesses if this continues very long. So that's big reason we got hit so hard yesterday. And obviously the bond market just bond yields cratered yesterday. They've come back a bit since then, but the moves compared to normal moves in the bond market are just absolutely insane. So all that having been said, I was if I could have had my perfect wish after yesterday, selling off a very big day percentage wise, historical day really. I mean, it wasn't the max drop ever percentage wise or anything like that, but it was up there. It's in the top, I don't know, 20ish uh, of large drops on massive volume. I would like to have gotten up this morning and seen a gap up, but a small gap up, not 3.5%. This yo-yo action in the market, up 5%, down 7%, up 4%, down 4%, is just not healthy market action. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. We're at a really interesting level here. This 275 is an important level on the SPY, and this 281, you and I spoke about it actually for quite some time last spring and summer. This 280, 281-ish level on the SPY was really significant back then, almost a year ago, and now it's coming into play again to see if we can hold. Next level up from here really is around 293-ish, and we kind of last summer hovered in that range for a good amount of time, with exceptions going up over it and such, but really staying in that range. So we shall see.
Yeah, I
As
agree.
far as economic news today, there's not a whole lot. Just the NFIB Small Business Index that comes out actually already came out. It was at 6 a.m. So I've got no other significant news. President Trump is supposed to talk today. Big reason why the market's up about some stimulus, whether it be payroll cuts, specific, some kind of specific, not bailout, that's not the right word, but backstopping, excuse me, on banks, airlines, companies specifically affected by this virus, and small businesses through the SBA. So to help them get through this when customers might be stuck at home. See what happens.
All right, so I see here. I agree with you on these levels, man. They are so important. Look how we bounced off that 273 you were just talking about several times. I think that's going to be a great area. So even with the sell down and how crazy it has been, it did find a way to bounce off this technical level that we had going back to February. So that's important. We're going to have that level on there. We also have the other ones marked down. Also, look at your highs and lows. As crazy as this has been, your highs and lows are also hitting some technical areas going back into that April, July timeframe as well. So important to have those levels here on the SPY this morning. All right, let's look at what we have on this list, guys. As usual, let's start with the smaller part. Let's head down to the red area here. We have several stocks this morning. Just quickly go through them, and then for the green, we're going to gap up a little bit. We're going to go focus on the top ones first. We're going to try to skip some of these oil companies pretty fast. I see NVAX is up here, which usually this one is always on the opposite side where the market is doing. So this one is up today. So that's interesting. We'll take a closer look at that. This one has been that when the market is down, this one is up with the rest of the APTs and other stocks that are probably down today. So again, we'll take a close look at that as well. So let's start with the bottom. We have SFIX here. All right, so we have Stitch this morning. Norm, obviously, is hopefully some other news, a catalyst on this one that's causing this gap down of 29% this morning to 397,000 shares traded. So give us an insight. What's going on with this one?
So they actually had earnings after the close yesterday. And their guidance was pretty horrendous. Their earnings beat the estimates, but their revenue was short and their outlook was pretty terrible. So they're getting hammered on that this morning.
All right, so yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on this one. This could be a good one. Just kind of like we had Twitter yesterday. Yes, Twitter was one that was moving, obviously, with its own news, and it traded very well. I love the fact that you guys send us
Yeah.
all those messages via Twitter and copying us and Biblical Traders on it. Please continue to do that, guys. We'd really love to see how you guys played out those stocks. So Stitch, I'm sorry.
And Carlos, just
Yeah.
a note on Stitch Fix there. It's got a 44% short float per trade ideas.
Okay. Wow, that's extremely high, guys. So we'll keep an eye on this
That's
one.
very high.
This one looks good today to keep an eye on. All right. Next we have AIM this morning. This one is down 17.2, 3 million shares traded so far. This is more of a low flow stock at 2.3. It is trading on the American exchange. Usually I don't like stocks that are on the American exchange if they're regular stocks and not an ETF or something. Again, this one here doesn't look all that great. You do have a nice pop this morning. I mean, a nice drop here, 17%. Had a nice pop yesterday. Took off nicely. So again, could have some continuation today. But again, not really a fan of this one, guys. 2.3 million shares flow. I'm going to throw it down here. Could be the low flow of the day.
With a very high short float as well at 44%.
Yeah, and you do have.
So you got two things going on that. That's going to act like it's a 1 million share
Mm-hmm,
float,
mm-hmm.
pretty much. It got that massive pop yesterday.
Yep.
I'm sure that was partially a squeeze on news that they're being tested in Japan for a COVID solution.
Yeah, yeah. So again, these COVID solution stocks are just so they're so random. It's just so hard to read. You know, the news bounces all over the place. They bounce all over the place, even in the intraday. So just be cautious with this. Again, they are tradable, but it does require a very high level of experience. So just keep that in mind. There are other stocks that we can trade, guys, that could trade a lot better, that can give us better opportunities. So here's AIM this morning. Again, nice drop today. Had a nice pop yesterday. We do have shares for short, but again, is a 1 point. I'm sorry, 2.3, and as Norm said, it can trade even as if it was a 1 million shares stock. So we'll stay away from that one for now. CODX this morning. This one has been pretty active over the last couple of days. We had the pop going back on the 26th of February. Look at this beautiful pop here. Traded very clean actually in here. We were to take advantage of this pop. Got pretty choppy in the last couple of days, and now we're back under 10. So it could be a good one for a positive continuation towards the bottom. This is a low flow stock as well. It is sitting at 15.8. Not as dangerous as AIMI. but this one's also on the lower side today with some good volume and a nice drop this morning. So we can throw this on here. We can come back to those later on, but really, I'm personally not going to be focused on low flow stocks, especially during this time where the market's so volatile. You can trade other stocks that are moving a lot decent and better. INO is one that has been trading very clean. Beautiful gap up yesterday. Great trading on Friday as well. This thing has been actually trading pretty clean. Today we're giving some back this morning, down 8.4. It is on short selling restrictions, but we do have shares for short. So this could be a good one. This is not a low flow stock, guys. This is sitting over at 90 million shares float. So it is tradable. I'm going to keep this one on here because it is one that it is on the red this morning with some very good volume, 1.6 million shares traded. So it's one that we can actually possibly get some movements out of it. Look at the pre-market activity right now. It's looking very good. You have a nice little downtrend hitting the previous day close and kind of dropping down below it, below this $10 level, which has been an important level for this stock. This previous right next to that previous day close. So we'll keep an eye at INO and see what develops out of there. Norm, any significant news on this one?
On INO, yeah. So yesterday in the middle of the day, if you look at the daily, or not the daily, the 5 minute for yesterday, this one was up on coronavirus news. And then Citron Research, Andrew Leff came out and put a hit piece on this. Said that, it's insane. This company's a consistent BSer, I guess is the only way to say it, liar that over the years has made things up in order to pump their stock price. And they claim that they came up with a solution to the coronavirus in 3 hours, and that this stock is going back to $2. So that's what's going on here.
Okay, so definitely worth keeping an eye on this one, see what happens out of that. All right, let's take a look at some of the green. Let's go towards the top, guys. This is everything that's red this morning, gapping down. Obviously, Stitch is my favorite one out of this one, out of this bunch. They have their independent news
Yeah,
are
me too,
down
buddy.
quite a bit, so definitely one to watch. All right, let's head up towards the top, and we do have this one, CY. This looks like a buyout, Norm. Please confirm if that's the case. But it got a big pop here,
Yeah,
47%.
yeah, it's some sort of an acquisition, and I'm not. It's a real funky chart, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
quite sure what's going on. I think it was an acquisition that was rumored, popped it up, and then um, if you look at it, it had this massive drop, and then now it's back up. So it's a very strange move.
Yeah. You usually don't see this type of movement before, some type of buyout, but this one obviously something probably got out. Again, this usually not tradable, guys. That type of action, so we'll skip on that one. Let's go to NVAX. Now this one here is usually gaps opposite of the market. Today, they are actually gapping up pretty nice, 33% this morning, 658,000 shares. They are not a low flow, guys. This is a 26 million shares float, so it is a stock that is a higher flow stock, but it does have a very heavy ATR. Your ATR is sitting on this one at $2.23. So we're talking about a stock that's trading below $20 with that type of ATR. That is massive. So you have to be very, very careful in the type of number of shares you take if you're going to trade this stock. So although it is not a low flow stock, it's sitting at 26. That ATR you got to be very, very cautious with. Just look at this one candle here, starting over at 11:30, and this candle goes up to 13:60 in a matter of 5 minutes. So again, just be very, very careful what you do here. But this one is very active this morning, worth taking a look at. We'll keep it on here and see what we can get out of that one this morning,
So
popping up
the
pretty
reason
nice.
that they're up, as you mentioned, a lot of the times in the last couple of weeks when we've had the market up, these virus stocks are going down, and when the market's down, they're going up.
Hmm.
Invax actually got a grant or an award from CEPI, which is the Coalition from Epidemic Preparedness. Um, it is a it is a group of entities that are focused on trying to find solutions, treatments, vaccines for diseases, all kinds of stuff from Ebola to, diseases, problematic epidemic diseases. And they awarded them, I think it was like $4 million to help them find some kind of drug to combat it.
Gotcha. So we'll keep an eye on this one, guys. This looks good, very active pre-market, and everything looking all right for today. And again, as we mentioned, just nice to see it actually up with the market this morning. Could be an interesting play for us. OXY. This one is, I believe, is an oil stock. Let me just look at the name.
Yep,
Yep, it
that's
is.
Occidental Petroleum.
Yep.
So all these Oxy, APA, ET, HAL, and on, USO, these are all oil related, and they're popping on that 8 to 9% move in oil this morning.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and skip these guys again. They are, you could take a position in them. They're not the best stocks to actually do intraday trading, from my experience. But if you like this type of stocks, maybe to do a possible play, you can trade them. But us personally, we kind of stay away from those and kind of trade regular stocks. Let's go down over to CS. CS one as well, I believe it probably is. Yeah, CS. Let's check here. No, it's a credit issue company. I'm not sure what this one is, but again, looking at the activity, you don't want to be involved with it. Look at the pre-market action; doesn't look great. Daily chart is very choppy. It's up 8%, but again, not a stock that's really hitting any of our criteria I would like to
This is
see
Credit Suisse. It's
every
for,
morning.
it's a foreign bank, and it trades very, very, very poorly.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that in the action as well. Let's look at E. What is E? E's also not looking anything great here. Same pre-market activity looks horrible as well. So we'll skip that one also. Also, when you see that type of pre-market activity and this type of daily chart action, just look at the volume. Look how low the volume is on this stock. Right, it doesn't trade very well. Not something you want to be involved in. Let's see if we find some good stocks here. Tesla. Tesla is up this morning. Let's see what we got going on there. On our buddy Tesla. Tesla this morning, nice pop, up 8.1, 556,000 shares traded. Going to remove some of these levels and see what we got here. So Tesla's looking pretty good, guys. You do have a nice area of support that we found. Obviously, the SPY started bouncing back from a level, so that could have helped it as well. But this one has a good level here around that $600 mark. So again, we're up against the low of the the lows and the highs of the last two trading days, right on here. So it will be interesting to see what this does. Pre-market activity, guys, looks very interesting. We're starting to see a very good pre-market activity out of Tesla. This is the stuff we've been seeing when this thing was very strong and giving some good intraday plays. So again, Tesla could be exciting. It is on the higher price stock, but I do like the pop this morning. I like the bounce off 600. That's a nice support level that we have here. We are slightly above this moving average as well. Could be interesting to see if we're going to try to break out of this area. Now, given the way the SPY and the volatility in the market has been, you have to keep an eye on that. Just in case things decide to go the other way, it might not be the day that this thing is going to bounce back. Let's look at one of my favorite stocks here, CCL, and then after this one, guys, we really want to see what you guys have on your end. We're not going to go through this entire list; there's way too many. I want to know what you guys have, just like what we did yesterday. See if you guys have any stocks that you like this morning. So CCL is bouncing back here, 7.1. This is a stock that I personally have a huge short bias on. I should have went short for a swing trade around this area because I had a great feeling this thing was going to drop just with the way the news is killing the cruise ships and advising people strongly not to get on these things, not to book these trips. That's going to hurt this stock quite a bit in any cruise ships type of stock. So this morning they're up 7.1. I don't believe this is the bounce yet, but again, that's just my bias, not advice for you to take this short. It is a little bit extended now. We might get some kind of pullback and another consolidation like we did here. But this stock is fun to watch, guys. It's a stock that's being directly affected with what's going on. So for that reason, I'm going to keep an eye on it. And also, it trades very clean. Let's take a quick look at what it did yesterday. Here you can see how clean this was. Had a beautiful pre-market activity selling off nicely off the moving averages. At the open, it gives you this little pop here, but right off this area of resistance, you can see it cannot stay above this moving averages to save its life. And you can see here, beautiful drop, hitting the low of the day, and then just became a beautiful downtrend the entire day, and it closes very weak. The SPY ended up strong yesterday, bouncing back. This one, it has no juice to be able to do that. Today, they're popping up a bit, but again, I think it's one of those stocks that you do want to have on your list. Just keep an eye on. It's something that's been getting hit pretty hard, and I think it will continue to get hit pretty hard into this coronavirus thing is under control. Again, I think a lot of people are just like Norm mentioned. You mentioned this a couple days ago. People are just freaking out. Even our governor here in New York was saying that people are overreacting a bit. Yes, it is bad, but it's not to the point what we're seeing in the street. People are just stocking up on tuna and this and that, like it's going to be the end of the world. And you were seeing that. You go to Costco around here, you go to Walmart, and you're seeing this panic. Like we had something out of control happening here. So definitely gonna keep an eye on this one, guys. let's look at what you guys have on your end. What do you like this morning? So we'll
Just
start
want to
over.
mention on that
Yeah.
CCL. So CCL got a downgrade out of Goldman this morning, um, from buy to a neutral rating, and they moved their price target from 59 to $32. Another thing of interest. As I've mentioned in this room before, I spent a good chunk, 2 decades of my career of my life working in the advertising business, and used to be able to see the flow of when major advertisers would cut their advertising or add to advertising, and it was a good kind of sign of economic conditions. Still got a number of friends in that business, and this is one of them. They have cut all their advertising on CCL going forward,
Mm,
which I mean it makes sense. You got people that aren't going to get on cruise ships, and the government saying don't go on cruises essentially, and who are they advertising to? They're not going to, it's just a waste of money. So,
yeah. No, and on top of that, you don't want to be attached to that, right? Somebody goes get sick and oh, how would you get on this cruise? Oh, I saw it on this channel. You know, it's just bad publicity that they probably do not need. And like you said, they're not going to be making probably no money out of it anyway. Um, all right, so let's look at what you guys have. Bank of America this morning. Let's take a look at that. Bank of America has been trading very nice last couple of days. This one's bouncing up a bit here, 6%, 782. When you have stocks like Bank of America moving, 50 cents, a dollar, that tells you that you're not in a normal market activity, market condition, right? Obviously, we know that. But you can see here yesterday, beautiful pop all the way up here, gave some back, and they hit the VWAP and then so lower. This morning, pre-market is a little bit all over the place, but this is typical Bank of America stuff. We're bouncing back 5.8, like a lot of the stuff that we're seeing here. I'm just not sure if we're going to get some good, clean trading out of Bank of America today. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. We'll keep it on here, guys. It also going to depend on what the SPY does in the market. If we do see a rally or some kind of squeeze here, this can trade well. But overall, if you see that, a lot of stuff is going to trade well. Like, AMD, Apple, take a look at Roku is up. Let's take a look at Roku, actually. Roku is up quite a bit. This is one of the ones that we like to keep an eye on. So all these stocks are bouncing up. We're all going to have this drop here, the support that we found, and then the bounce, right? So all these stocks are going to be taken off. Bank of America might not be the best one for you to keep an eye on out of this bunch of group we have here. Let's take a look at DB. Ryan TB is giving us that one. So DB this morning, we do have in some action going on here. Some volume coming in, 350 up 10%, 9, probably as high as 11 all the way up here. So again, some news breaking out of this one, but this is also a banking stock, guys. It's not easy to trade. Is Bank of America doing the same thing? No, it just looks like DB is the one popping up here. We'll put it on here. We'll take a look at it again. We obviously
yeah.
got some action going on here this morning.
Yeah, it's a foreign banking stock. This company has been in real trouble recently. So I think it's just going up with the banks. I'm not saying really anything too
Mm-hmm.
specific. Um,
Yeah, so if we're not saying anything specific, guys, I'm gonna take it off, and the reason for is it is a foreign stock. It doesn't trade as clean. Look at the daily. You're gonna have other stocks gonna be trading a lot more cleaner than that. Let's take a look at our buddy AMD this morning. AMD again, very similar to what the SPY is doing, up a little bit here, 4.9 with some great volume. This is one to watch. Aside from Bank of America, you could keep AMD, keep the Nvidias of the world. So let me see, Nvidia, what's that up to this morning? Not as much volume as AMD. Let's take a look at MU. MU, same situation. And let's look at our buddy Apple. And Apple again has always clean volume here, 882 up 4.1, pretty much bouncing with the market as well. So again, I think out of these two, AMD and Apple are two good ones to keep on your list if the market is going to rally today. DKS. Actually, DKS we were going to talk about. DKS, see what we got going on here.
yeah, Dix.
So this one, we have some news on this, right, Anorm?
Yeah, actually, Dick's had earnings this morning, and they beat on their top and bottom line. Um, this one had been in a world of hurt for a while,
Mm-hmm.
for a year or so, and then they started to beat earnings. They took a big hit a couple of years ago when they moved away from selling firearms, and they got some blowback for that. Specifically, they've got business. What is Trail and Stream? I think is a specific store just for hunting and fishing, and so a big part of their customer base are gun enthusiasts. And when they said they weren't going to sell specific guns and highly regulate how they are sold in their stores. They got hit real hard, and their
Mm-hmm.
earnings took a hit for a good period of time, and then they started to rebound a bit. Saw that they had earnings, like I said, and they beat on the top and bottom line. So that's where it sits today.
Yeah, a stock like this, I definitely want to keep an eye on. A stock like Stitch are my two favorites right now this morning because they have their own catalyst going into this crazy market activity that we're seeing. So these two will be on the top of my list this morning. I'm going to add DKS on here as well. Let's see what else you guys have. How? So let's take a look at HAL. This one this morning, it has a great pre-market starting out here, pretty good. 645,000, up 19%, 20% now, breaking out of the high from yesterday as we speak right over there. So, yeah, this is going to have any specific news on this one. This looks very active this morning.
It's an oil stock. I mean, it's
Oh,
the
it
same
is.
stuff that we've been talking about. I didn't see anything specific on HAL other than that. I'll probably keep one or two of these on my watch list today. It's like every oil company on the planet is on here. I'll
Mm-hmm.
keep a couple of the best ones, and this may be my pick. They did get a downgrade. They got several yesterday, but then they got a downgrade this morning out of JP Morgan with a price target of $14. So
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so this is definitely worth watching. Again, pre-market looks pretty interesting now, breaking out of this level of high from yesterday. So I'm going to add that on here to our list as well. All right, let's see what else we have. YNDX. YNDX, one that we have traded quite a bit before in the past. Has been good to us. Let's see what they got going on today. Today they're popping up 10%. Not much volume at the moment. Pretty scattered pre-market activity right now. I do like the pop guys. We're hitting a level here of resistance. The lows from these 2 days right on here. That 39, what's that? 38, 60 level looks good. But we don't got that great volume at the moment. So for that reason, I'm not going to put it on here. But if you have the space today, you can definitely keep an eye on this one for sure. Let's take a look over at what else we have here. So that's DKS we do have. Oxy is one of the leading stock of oil. All right, let's take a look. Uh, yeah, this could be another one between this one and How. I mean, they're all going to move very, very similar. I think How has a lot of volume and activity right now compared to the other ones that I'm seeing here. Let's look at Oxy. Oxy is actually no Oxy as well has good volume, good activity. So yeah, you could pick between one of these two. I'm not going to watch all of them because I want to keep some space for everything else. So maybe I'll pick one oil stock. I'll take a DKS. I'll take one between Apple and AMD. I'll probably keep Bank of America. So kind of cover a little bit of all the sectors here just to keep an eye on things. I'm gonna watch CCL and Stitch for sure are gonna be on my list. So that could be my final list there, knowing that I gotta keep a close eye on the SPY to see what that's going to be doing and opening up like this morning. All right, let's take a look over at YouTube. YouTube has for us CI we looked at BNGO this morning. Let's take a look at what's going on there. This one, guys, more of a penny stock. 2.7 million shares traded right now. This is up 22%. But looking at this very quickly, guys, I do not like this daily chart here. This is very choppy. Also, I do not like the fact this thing is trading under a buck. More of a penny stock. So I'm going to stay away from this one because of that, right? It's just not something that we focus on. Nothing wrong with the stock, but I'm not seeing anything great on it right now, especially that pre-market activity is a little bit all over the place. American Airlines is a good one, guys, as well as United Airlines. These two stocks, along with CCL, have been taking a huge hit as travel takes a huge hit. And what kills travel, guys, the majority of travel is business travel. It's not really vacation. So just think about it. Anybody that has to take a business trip, they're not going to put their life at risk to take a business trip to go see one of their members over in whatever state or whatever the case may be, right? Vacation people are the ones that are taking the risk because they don't want to cancel vacation. They got their PTO plans. It directly affects their booking in hotels. They're the ones taking the risk. But business travel, because we got companies like Zoom that are not, are making a killing now because people are not trying to get on a plane to do business, right? So this one here is taking a direct hit, bouncing back a bit here. I'm not seeing great movements right now. It's up 5.1, but pre-market is a little bit all over the place. Let's take a look at American Airlines and see what that has going for us as well. Actually, that one goes
yeah,
first.
so well, AAL that you were on, American, they announced this morning that they are going to be slashing flights, both domestically and foreign, domestic and international flights due to decrease in demand, which it's up 5-ish% this morning. I think everybody anticipated that. Nobody anticipated they were just going to be flying empty planes all over the planet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that, there is, like I mentioned earlier, when we were talking about the spy, the president is anticipated today to announce some measures that he wants to put in to help the situation. And one of them would be, I believe, helping out airlines as well to get through this tough time. So it
yeah,
might be
yeah.
part of it too.
I,
Plus oil prices tanking. Once we come out of this whole deal, if oil prices are still low, it'll help them.
Yeah, yeah. And Tommy's saying I'm still taking planes for business as usual, but Tommy has a private jet, so that doesn't bother him. No, we're not talking about private jets, Tommy. Just kidding. But yeah, some people are taking flights. They're okay with it. It's all personal, situation. Everybody's different on their risk tolerance. Baba, let's take a look at Baba. BABA. What do we have here? Oh man, look at the levels on BABA. The daily chart is really all over the place, guys. Again, I'm not sure what you think about Baba here, guys. It's really all over the place. I haven't looked at Baba in some time, but just look at this daily. They do have some good volume, 314. I'm not a fan of Baba. I don't like the way it trades. But overall, you can watch this one if you're interested. It is up 3.5, but right now it's just kind of stuck within a lot of levels at the moment. So I don't like the way that looks right now on the daily. It just seems to be a little bit all over the place. Let's see what else we have. Twitter. Yes, take a look at Twitter as the last one. Then we'll get to some announcements. So let's just pop up Twitter over here. TWTR. Yeah, Twitter had an interesting day yesterday. Oh, they gave a lot back though. I didn't notice that. They gave a lot back. I didn't watch the trading in the afternoon. Look at this beautiful pop here. Obviously, we knew they had some news breakout in the pre-market, but man, they gave a lot of it back here towards the end. So they're gapping up quite a bit into today, 4.7. This could be interesting. It is stuck within a lot of levels though. Daily's really all over the place, but they had such a big day yesterday. I'm surprised they gave this much back, especially with the way the SPY ended. So it could be worth watching. Pre-market though is very light today. Only 130,000 shares traded. That could be a good possible. So we'll throw it on here. Might not keep it, but again, we'll see if we can get a possible continuation out of Twitter today. All right, let's head over to
Do one more. Do one more, Carlos.
one more. I got you, my man. Let's do one more here. VIPS strong close yesterday, given by us by Mr. Musco. Hopefully, I did not kill your name there. What do we have here? VIPS. So this one, a couple of very interesting days. Opens up, gaps up, takes off. Gaps down, takes off. Gaps down again and takes off. So it's very interesting daily the way it's been the last couple of 3 days. This one right now has 57,000 shares traded. Not a lot of great volume, guys. And pre-market is really all over the place. But it's just interesting the way this daily looks here. I'm going to remove some of these levels and give you a little bit of a clearer view here. Could be a continuation today, but you do have an area right here of a level that might not break out of. But again, just the pre-market, guys, not my typical type of stock. Now, this is the stock I remember Norm, I believe it was you that put it on our watch list on this was Wednesday or Thursday. I don't remember the exact date, but we looked at this because it was gapping up while everything else was gapping down, and man, it was a stock of the day. The intraday trade on this was amazing, and you guys took great advantage of it. So I'm not sure how the last couple of intradays have been. Oh, yesterday was nice. Look at the breakout yesterday. Doesn't look like it had a lot all that volume at the start here, but a beautiful. Actually, no, that's great volume. Beautiful pop here above the moving averages, VWAP, and then consolidation, and then just a nice takeoff here. So again, not sure if we can continue this type of action, guys. Every day has been green. The last 3 days have been green with no red days, gapping down and then taking off. So could be interesting for a pop. I'm not gonna watch it. The volume is pretty light right now, but we can keep an eye on it. We have our turbo breakup and turbo breakdown scanners, which have not been all that easy to read just because the way the markets has been, right? Everything is on there with the way things are going. So we're not going to kid ourselves, guys. This is very difficult time to trade. You can make a lot of money if you're in the right position, in the right timing, but it's also difficult to get into trades because there's so much happening that it's hard to fine tune on the stocks that are moving well. So if you're seeing all these posts online where everybody's making money, making a killing, and you cannot seem to find a stock that you can trade well, that is okay. You're not alone in that. I had a hard time yesterday finding a stock to trade, especially after the halt. I completely stopped trading. Just I was actually looking to see if it was going to hit the halt again. That's the first time we've been through something like that, so that was kind of exciting for me to see that. Right, people go their careers with trading and not see something like that. So that was great to see. But again, do not feel like you need to push or force trade. That's very, very important, right? We're here for the long run. We're here to be trading the next couple of months, 2, 3, 4, 5 into next year. We're not here to make bad errors and make mistakes in our trading account and not be able to trade the following month. So it's very, very important. Do not feel like, man, something's wrong with me. I see this guy doing this, that guy doing this woman doing that. Do not feel the need that you're doing something wrong. So it's very, very important. All right, guys. I prefer actually. Norm and I were talking about this one. The list is a lot smaller, more fine tuned for our style of trading. That's a lot cleaner for us. So let's take a look at our announcements, and then we'll come back. We'll do some fine tune this list a little bit. We'll do some support and resistance, and make this a little bit better for us to kind of hone in a little bit on what's happening.
All right, Carlos. Hang on, I just messed something up here. Uh, all right, guys. So success webinars we got coming up tomorrow. Tom Sosnoff. Usually these are at 8 p.m. This is going to be at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. He's going to be talking about probabilities and position sizing. Email will go out today from Andrew on this. If you don't know who Tom is, he is an absolute legend in trading. He was one of the creators of Thinkorswim. Um, he owns Tasty Trade, Tasty Works, all that. He is a absolute legend. So we're honored to have him come and speak to us tomorrow. That'll be in the Lifetime webinar room. Next week's Thor's on a level 2 class that he'll be doing. That will be at the normal 8 p.m. time. Week after that, we'll have Ed Martin from Average Joe Trader. Hey, Carlos, can you move your Epic pin off of there?
Oh,
Ed Martin of Average Joe Trader. Um, Thank you, sir. Talking about trading after hours earnings. And then on April 1st, 6 p.m., because he's in London, Stephen Goldstein, world renowned trading psychologist, will be talking about his golden trading guidelines. This is a guy that was a real professional trader for like 20 years, 20 plus years, and serious insight. If you haven't seen it, check out his podcast, which is the Alpha Mind podcast. Really good stuff there. Next, tonight, we actually start our Psychology Tuesday webinars. So tonight at 8 p.m., we're going to have our own in-house psychologist, Dr. Katz, who's also excellent. He's going to be talking about how to decrease overtrading. And then we have kicked off our March promotion, 40% off a lifetime membership. You can use the promo code St. Patrick's right there. No period, no apostrophe, none of that. Just St. Patrick's as it's spelled on the screen for 40% off the single payment lifetime membership. Also, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, you'd like to give the room a try, you can do so at a discount with the promo code PREMARKET24. Just apply that promo code when you check out for the intro membership on our site. It's PREMARKET24. Doesn't auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. Carlos mentioned our Twitter earlier, where we talk about all this, a lot of this stuff on a pretty normal basis. Andrew is at Bearable Traders, Carlos is at Carlos M BBT, and I'm at Norm BBT.
all right, excellent, Norm. Thank you very much for that. All right, let's take a look at what we have here, guys. So let's look at this list that we have here. So I'm gonna keep Stitch on here, guys. I think this is a good one. Has its own catalyst. That's gonna be on my main list this morning. Just move this over here. Here we go. All right, INO. I'm on the fence on INO. We'll see what it does here. NVAX is very active this morning as well, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Tesla's coming back here. Again, a lot of stocks are going to be coming back. I'm going to remove Tesla for now, guys. I think we have some other ones that look a lot better. CCL, I'm going to keep on here. This is going to be an interesting stock for days to come. Bank of America will be my banking stock. I'm going to try to watch a little bit of every different sector. Out of AMD and Apple, I think I'm going to keep AMD on. AMD has been pretty good to trade, so I'll keep that one on. DKS is definitely on one of my favorites lists. It has its own catalyst. I'm going to move this up here as well. Let's move right next to, if we can, next to, I can't do that. All right, let's just delete this here. We'll move it next to Stitch right over here, DKS. I like that one. And then INO behind it. Here we go. So we'll move it down from here. All right, so we'll look at that one. NVNX, CCL, I like. Bank of America, we said we like. I'm going to keep AMD. Out of the oil stocks, I'm going to keep either How or Oxy. Let me see. I'm probably going to keep How. Probably going to keep How. How seems to have a just slightly, it has less volume, but slightly a better pre-market activity. They both don't look great at all. Oxy has more volume for sure, but I'm going to keep How. I think that was a little bit more interesting. And then Twitter here for a possible continuation. Again, had a big day yesterday. Gave a lot of it back towards the afternoon, but I think it could be interesting today to see how that ends. Let's start over here. Let's see what we could do. So I know people want to see the entire scanners. Thank you for pointing that out, Thor. Does
I
anybody?
put up captures of the whole thing. There's two images. If you need to see it,
Yeah,
look in the
perfect.
chat room. You can. There's two images. They're a little spaced out. It's sorry guys. It's really hard for us to do some of this stuff when we're also running the pre-market show here as well. But I there's two of them. One is the top image, and then what wouldn't fit on that is put on the bottom.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. All right, guys. So let's. So we have a pretty decent list. Let's do some levels here. We have some low flow stocks on here. CODX giving a lot back, going red to green this morning. I mean green to red this morning, and then AIM also pretty active at the moment. So let's do some levels. Oop. Think I know how to fix this. If this happens to you guys, I learned this in the community. If you go and try to hit the first ticker up here, and by mistake you hit symbol, it stores this thing in a very weird fashion. Actually, from A
How long
to
were you
Z.
using DAS before you learned that and
Oh,
had to redo your list over and
oh
over,
my
man?
God! I was using it for probably 2 years or so. So it's amazing that we
It's a
found this
saving
out.
grace, isn't it?
It is. So you right click on here, you hit user defined list, and it brings it back to what you had it here. All right, so let's go back here to SFix. This morning, I really like this one, guys. Probably one of my favorite ones, like Twitter was yesterday. 1550 is going to be up here, level of high of the day at the morning right now, low of the pre-market 1340. So we'll mark that down. We have a nice big gap here between 1550 all the way up to 1920 in this area. In between that, we do have some areas here of support and resistance. 1705 is a great one. Over here, we have another one at 18. 18, you got plenty of support happening here. A couple of days bouncing off of that. Pretty nice here. And then the low of yesterday is a good area of support and resistance as well. If you look at that line there, you have several days bouncing off of that, using it as support and resistance right on there. So we'll keep an eye on that one also. Towards the bottom, guys, in case we head back down, I don't think this is trying to do that. Looking pretty strong right now in the pre-market. Let's look at our weekly because our daily is going back quite a bit. I don't think we've been here in some time. This was actually very close. This is actually the all-time low, 1337. This thing IPO'd around $15 right in here. We're below that today. So interesting. Let's see what the bounce is going to be this morning, if we're going to get one. But this one's definitely on its own catalyst. Great pre-market activity starting to build up here after 8 a.m. You're starting to see the volume coming in. You're starting to see the great pre-market activity build up. We already hit 1550. Let's see if we can test that one more time. So this is my stock. My favorite stock today will be this one. Dix is also one that has its own catalyst as well. Has been beating up, as Nor mentioned, and it is up quite a bit nicely today. 10% this morning. High of the pre-market sitting at 39.90. Towards the bottom, your low of the pre-market, pretty much the highs of the last two trading days. So you got that cover right on there. And then right in here around 37, you do have an area of resistance. I'm going to mark this down. So between your highs and your low of the pre-market, 37, 36.98, you can see the area of support happening here, and also great resistance on this day. It's a couple of 3 days trying to bang their head up against that. We're not able to get out of that 37. So let's keep an eye on that in case that becomes some kind of support if we bounce around between 39.91 and 37, right? So let's see what we do here. I already see in the pre-market, we did test that a bit here around this area, opening and closing around that 37 number. So we'll see what that does. That'll be a good level to have right on here. So above this, let's look at some major levels. Major support levels is one of them right here, 43.29. Clear support happening here. As you can see, you have some resistance as well in this area, so we'll keep an eye on that one. 42 is also another one, not as major as this one. This one has a lot of touches. The more touches a level has, the stronger that level is going to be. This one here only has about 3 or 2 touches, and they're not really all that significant. Opening and closing on here. This day kind of opening up, touching that 41.38, and then selling off. But this is your major level out of here. But it's good to have just in case you might lose some momentum around that area, maybe around 41. That whole dollar number is a good one to keep in mind as well. You don't have to mark it, because if you mark every single thing, you're going to have levels everywhere, but you want to have at least your major levels covered, so you know that there could be a good change in direction or resistance around that range there. So I like DKS, guys. The pre-market doesn't look great right now. Volume is very light, but we did see that with VIPS a couple of days ago, right? It gapped up just like this, had his own drop here, gapped up quite a bit, kind of held here And then the volume came in at the open, and it traded very nice. It was very strong. Had a great intraday play, and it had its own catalyst. So DKS today has its own catalyst as well, worth keeping an eye on. NIO trying to get back to green at this moment. Dipped down below the previous day close. Has great volume, great activity. Look at the bounce of the lows of yesterday. So that's pretty nice on there, guys. What's this? This is around 853, but the low of the pre-market is sitting at 825. But a beautiful bounce there. Nice B reversal heading back towards the previous day close. So I definitely want to keep an eye on this one. Towards the top, guys, high of your pre-market at 1150. You do have some levels in between highs and lows from the last two trading days. Got you covered, so that's good. And then towards the top, I like this level 14. You do have this date that went all the way up to 16, so that level is already covered for you. But it did come back and close down at 14, so you want to keep that level on there. But as usual, guys, in these type of stocks, keep in mind 1250, 12, 13. These whole dollar numbers are going to be important. Don't just get into it straight expecting it's going to go to 1405. Take profits on the way up as you're hitting some of these key target price level areas. So right now, trying to get red to green at the moment, banging our head against this previous day close. Let's see if it has the power to get through it. NVAX, I'm not too much of a fan of this one. Right now, stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. You do have a level all the way up here sitting at 1773. And you do have 16 could be a good one as well. You have this day kind of popping up to 17, coming back down to the 16 area. You can put a level right on there. But again, right now, pretty much stuck between these highs and lows. Not looking all that great on the daily. Pre-market activity did get a nice pop here. This is what made us keep it on our radar. Let's see what it does if it continues with this type of volume and if we can get some good pop and volume out of this one. CCL, guys, one of my favorite stocks. I'm going to be watching this for a few weeks coming out to see what we're going to get out of it. I'm only going to mark down on this one, really the low of the pre-market at 22.87. I think that's all we really need on here. The highs and lows from the last two trading days got you covered. Again, this has a nice little pop here of 9.5, but as you know, this thing doesn't have its own catalyst, but it does have a lot of negative news behind it. A lot of people advising do not take any more cruise ships, from government officials to a lot of companies, advising people not to get on these ships, especially health companies. So that's important. It's going to affect them directly. Definitely worth keeping an eye on this one. Out of the banking stock, I'm gonna watch Bank of America right now. Pretty much flat. It's not doing all that much since it popped up 5.8. If we look at the daily here, the low of the pre-market sitting around 22.30. So I'm gonna mark that down. And you do have your highs and lows covering you from the last two trading days. Above that, nice big gap over at 25. So you do have an area on here. Where's my pen? Let's make this a little bit smaller. Here we go. So you do have a nice big gap here. Not sure if today's going to be the day that we close this gap. A lot of it's going to depend on the SPY. So make sure you have a SPY chart up to see what's happening in that area. AMD is going to be my stock to watch out of the semiconductors. I think this one is very active. Has 1.6 million shares traded. It is up 5.3. Low of the pre-market at the moment sitting at 45.10. So I'm going to mark that down. And I think that might be the only level I mark in here because we're really getting choppy on the daily. You have your highs and lows covering you. You have your previous day close, very close towards the bottom here, around 43, and the low from from yesterday as well, covering you in that area. So I don't think you need to add any more on AMD. HAL will be the oil stock that I watched this morning. This one trying to get going. It is getting above the high from yesterday, so that's good. It has a nice big gap here this morning. Let's see if we go. I'm not gonna really go all the way to the left to start looking for levels. I think it might be a little bit irrelevant right now to get a level between this gap area because I think you just really got to watch the price action on this one and really watch what the SPY is doing. Whatever the market does, this is gonna react a certain way. So again, I think you have some good levels here. Let's see if the pre-market keeps going and gives us another high of the pre-market. You want to mark that down. If we get that to like a 1050 11 or so, mark that down and get new levels within your pre-market action. Here is Twitter. Twitter is similar situation as a lot of these are just stuck between the highs and lows. Twitter, on the other hand, has a very interesting daily chart, very, very choppy, but it did have a very interesting day yesterday. Opened up, sold off, and then took off, selling really nice, but then just gave it all back. So right now, opening up pretty much up 4%, but after that pop at the pre-market, it's just been pretty choppy, just around this 34 area. So I'm going to mark down the high of the pre-market at 34.38. I think that's going to be important. I like this level here on this daily, 33.35, and then from there, guys, I don't think you need to add any more. You pretty much cover with all the trading levels that you have on Twitter. Our two bottom ones down here, CODX is a low flow stock of the day. I'm really not gonna watch this guy, so if you're interested, this is one that you can put on your list. I'm gonna remove it from mine. So I'm not gonna keep an eye on it. We have AIM also on here, guys. This is another one that's very active this morning, 3.8. But again, I'm not gonna be watching these two. These are not the type of stocks that I like to keep an eye on or trade. So just to recap, guys, we got Stitch, we have DKS, we have INO, we have NVAX, CCL, Bank of America, or banking stock, AMD, How, and Twitter. And I have way too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got to get rid of some here. So let's go through, see what I'm going to get rid of. So Stitch and DKS, we do like. Some of my favorites. NIO could be nice. NVAX, oh man, the pre-market looks so great. I want to get rid of it because it's not really my type of stock to trade. But the pre-market is looking very active this morning. It's worth keeping on here. You know, Twitter's gonna have to go. Twitter's not looking all that exciting, so we'll get rid of Twitter. How, you know, I personally do not trade these oil stocks, so for that reason, I'm gonna get rid of it. I will be looking at it as a possible, so I'm gonna throw it down here in case we do see the SPY a rally and get some movement, something we can possibly trade. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And then with that said, I think I'm gonna move down also Bank of America, right? I think Bank of America has some potential, but I'm going to move it down because I can really only watch 6 effectively. More than that just becomes a mess. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is perfect. These two are some good possibles. We're always going to keep an eye on the SPY, especially during these type of conditions. Pretty much flat right now. It is up 3.8. Let's see how this open is going to take place in about 7 minutes, guys. All right, that is all we have. Norm, anything I missed that we should cover?
Nothing I can think of, buddy. I posted my watch list. It's going to be similar to some of the stuff we spoke last week. I threw a few on here. Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple. Those are some of the really loved stocks in the not too distant past that have pulled back from their highs. So I anticipate, and one thing to note is these have not pulled back to we're now trading down to a level that's from last spring essentially, and these stocks are still not down all the way down there. So I I don't know if people are going to think they're a bargain yet, but at some point when we turn the corner and people have a real feeling that we're coming out of this a little bit, I think they're going to gobble these up, and I'll keep my eye on those.
Yeah, yep, I agree 100%. I'm with you too, man. I don't think this is the buying the dip part just yet. I think we might have a little bit more downside to this, and also I think we got to keep an eye on this coronavirus until that thing becomes a little more stable, right? Every time we open up the news, it's kind of like it's getting worse and worse, and more people are infected, and the numbers growing. That creates panic and fear, and I think that's going to continue to drive some of these markets a little bit lower. But again, it's a tough time. It's a tough time. You don't want to be long right now. You want to be short in swing trading position at the moment because it can go either way, the way it's sitting at right now. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining us in the pre-market show. We appreciate you guys on YouTube for joining us. We know you have options, so we appreciate you guys hanging with us today. Take care. See you guys tomorrow again, 8:30 Eastern time. Trade safe, and remember, as we mentioned before, if you're having a tough time finding opportunities, it is okay. Do not force anything. This type of market is not easy to trade. You can be an amazing trader out doing regular market activity, which is most of the time. As you can see here, we've been through what we have since October, right? All the way from October all the way to end of February, we've been trading normal pre-market activity, right? Very bullish market, obviously, but we had a lot of great moves. It took a lot of great opportunities. So now, let's let this little rough patch get away from us. If that's the case, do not be so aggressive as you has been before. That has been working out. Be cautious of that. Take care, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern time.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.